You all know the deal. Go ahead and type in the comments where you're tuning in from so I know we are live. This live was originally supposed to happen at 2 p.m. Central Time, but evidently when I was creating this event, somewhere lost in translation, the time zones got mixed up because I am in the beautiful Glendale, Arizona today. Getting away from those 6 inches of snow you all are facing in Chicago. For those of you joining me for the first time, welcome. I am Tegan Bartos, founder and managing director of Jolt Your Career, a job search consulting firm that helps ambitious professionals just like you advance, own, or pivot in your career. It's been only a couple hours since I hosted my last live. I am coming at you with a double header today. This morning, I was talking about strengths, and this afternoon, you are going to get the full cycle process in transitioning in your career from not only a director of recruitment, a hiring manager, but also someone recently who recently transitioned himself. So without any further ado, because for those of you who RSVP, you're thinking we're 10 minutes late, I'm sorry, we're eventually going to get it together. But please go ahead, drop in the chat. Welcome, Carrie, Todd, and Adam. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining.
Hello.
Hi.
All right. We've got Trevor tuning in. We've got Dan in the comments. I am not sure how to pronounce your name, so if you could phonetically add that in there, I will give you a special shout out from Canada as well, and everybody else who is beginning to tune in. So let me go ahead and change this background so it's a little prettier for the conversation. So for those of you just tuning in, my camera broke on my flight. So you get this lovely background back here, and there may be some people coming and going, but that's just how we're rocking it today. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Adam, you recently transitioned careers, and you have been, let me pop you up in the hot seat right here, and you have had so much success within your first year. So why don't you introduce yourself to everyone and share what that journey was like? What did you used to do? How did you make the decision to transition your career? And what were some of the things that helped you along the way without giving too many details? Because then we're going to bring Todd and Carrie in here to bring it back full circle.
Yeah, absolutely. Tegan, thank you for the fantastic introduction, and thanks for having me on today. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm glad we can all be together for this event. So, yeah, a little background about me. I used to be a special education teacher for the city of Chicago and CPS. I taught in high school, and I did that for 3 years. I've actually changed careers twice now. So before that, I was a benefits analyst, but I've always had a passion to, help those with disabilities. So that's where my life took me. It ended up taking me into the teaching field. And so, through my transition, so I actually met Todd, who's on the call today. I met him on the golf course. So he became a friend first, and then, through a few conversations and charisma on Todd's part, he got me on for a call, and I actually ended up becoming a client of his. We're all in the financial planning space. And so after becoming a client and seeing how much value there is in financial planning, and even more so how it made me feel to start my financial planning journey, I just thought it was an awesome experience. And then sure enough, Todd thought I could be good at this career. And, in the back of my mind, I really did love teaching, but if I was going to be honest with myself, I never felt like I was as passionate as I should be to really give, students the education they deserve. So I found myself even 3 years in, just not putting all of myself into it and not giving it all. So that was kind of a big problem for me because my personality, I just want to be the best at something. And no part of me want to be the best teacher I could be. So, after a few conversations with Todd and some other people, I probably had 12 to 15 conversations before actually making that decision to switch my career for a second time. But yeah, after, I did my research and I had all these conversations, I told myself, this could be an awesome opportunity. And, I didn't see really, any downsides of at least trying it out, knowing that, if it didn't work, I can always maybe try teaching again or, explore something else. So, yeah, that's kind of my journey. I've been doing this for a year and a half now. And, I like to stay humble. People are telling me I'm doing a very good job, but, still, I still feel like I have to learn so much, and I have such a far way to go before I feel like I'm successful in this thing. But I can't imagine being anywhere else. And what I tell people is, when they ask how it's going and how I feel and, about the whole career change, is I feel like I'm the best version of myself today from a lot of different perspectives, not only just professionally, but personally, I'm the best version of myself today. Financially, I'm the best version of myself. And so, yeah. And, I know I've been rambling on, Tegan, so cut me off when you want to interject another question. But some things that helped me make this career switch was, me doing my research, me talking to people that have been successful in the career. But I also thought it was important to talk to people that maybe didn't have such a successful journey or tried it and it didn't work out, because I wanted to know everything. I wanted to know how hard it would be before I made that jump. And I'm just lucky enough to be in literally one of the best offices in the country, surrounded by some of the best advisors who continue to just give me the support I need to be successful. And I think it's so motivating to know that I have all these successful people around me that are willing to give me their energy and time really whenever I need it. So, yeah.
You just touched on so many things. Okay, so let me try to break this down for everybody who's tuning in a little late, even though I was the one who was late but didn't realize I was late. Sorry, guys, this time zone thing, I'm going to get with it eventually. Okay, you were a teacher, and even for teachers who feel like they're giving it their all, where they feel like this is their calling, you always felt a little disconnected. But even for the teachers who are put their heart and soul in, this is how they're going to retire. At a certain point, I mean, teachers are leaving by the thousands over the past couple of years. At a certain point, professionals are going to want to take ownership of their career and have a little bit more autonomy outside of what's so heavily regulated, and how many meetings there are as a teacher when you should be in the classroom with the kids. And so if you're a teacher out there tuning in, he just gave anybody transitioning careers. Adam just gave so many great pieces of advice on how to make that work. Doing the research, talking to people within those professions, talking to people who transitioned to that profession and left. Why did you leave? Why didn't it work out? Because there's nothing scarier than when you transition to thinking, okay, is this the right path for me? And then what happens if I fail? Or, what are some of those things that I need to be aware of that necessarily people don't talk about? And then the third biggest takeaway that I took from what you just said, Adam, is making sure that you surround yourself with a team who will help you grow and thrive. Because I know what your numbers are. I know you're one of the top performers of the new cohorts of people, and you're doing fantastic and you're crushing it. But to your point, you still feel like you have so much to learn. But one of the fantastic things is you're surrounded by mentors who pour into you their knowledge and expertise to help you get to where you want to go, despite how much of a fantastic start you had. Because there are a lot of people who transition and they do struggle in the beginning. And then those mentors can help them get back on track, and they can ultimately be successful. Or the reverse, they're not mentored, and then they're starting from scratch again in a career that could have actually been successful if they had the right leader surrounding them. So Todd, I would love to hear your perspective next. Let me put you in the hot seat as to what did you see in Adam that made you think, okay, he might be good for this? And what is it that you look for when people are transitioning into a career that makes you as a hiring manager say, I would love to mentor this type of person. I think that even though they don't have direct experience, I can help mold them into accomplishing their goals.
Right. Well, thank you, Tegan. I appreciate the introduction, and it's nice to meet everybody on the call. You know, what I saw in Adam and what I tend to see in, you know, individuals that are successful at this, but particularly Adam, was just an extremely social individual, like really, really good with people. So regardless of what your job is or what, you know, where you came from or whatever, you know, some of us are just people. We love to be around people. We're energized by people. We're naturally drawn to conversations. We can talk to, you know, strangers in the room pretty much about anything. And what I saw about Adam socially was just his ability to adapt in situations and really talk to anybody, you know, in the room. You don't necessarily have to be extroverted. You could be somewhat introverted, but then be like an extrovert when you do, you know, unpack those relationships and things like that. But Adam was just so good with people. I was like, people love this guy. He needs to come in and capitalize on the network, but also make a big impact to all of these people who don't even know how impactful he can be for their families. So just the sociability aspect is really, really important, being good with people. I think the grit. So I just saw a guy who was gritty. He was, you know, willing to persevere, and, you know, nothing was too challenging. If I said, hey, this is what you have to do, he would meet me more than halfway to get there. We teach you a lot about what you need to do, and a lot about the materials and the tools that we use and what to say to people and things like that. But I think that we just can't coach hard work and grit. And what I saw in Adam was just somebody willing to go the extra mile, but also really, really good with people, which I think is critical for the business that we are in, to develop trust from the people that you're sitting down with. So.
Okay, so then let's bring Carrie in and then bring this full circle. So Carrie, you're the director of recruitment. And so we haven't actually said what industry you guys are in or what you do. So tell me a little bit about your company, why it's important to have somebody who, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be an extrovert to be good with people. I'm an introvert, and as an introvert, I listen to people, and that builds trust. And so whether you're an extrovert who's not scared to talk to anybody, or an introvert who's willing to listen to everybody and really help them reach their goals, your firm can help do that. And so really, personality wise, a variety of people can thrive in your industry. But what I notice about you all is you're all mission driven. You're very much so wanting to help people have better lives. And so from your perspective, what do you look for when bringing new talent into the organization? And how does that really translate when people are talking to you? Do you feel like you have to pull that out of people with the questions you ask them? Or do you feel like these people just naturally radiate this energy and they're really clear that, yes, this is the type of life that I want to have, the type of work, the type of impact that I want to be having to the community?
Such a great question, Tegan. Thank you so much for asking that. I'm excited to be here too. I appreciate you providing us this space. And I love that question. So we are in the financial services industry. So everything we do, whether it's from the advisor facing side with their clients or from the recruiting standpoint, right, in the development, it's all about impact. So to answer your question, Tegan, I really think that everyone who is drawn to something like this, it really has to be a calling, and it's an attraction factor. To be quite frank, we don't even use the word recruiting very frequently here at Northwestern Mutual because it's all attraction. It's you know, seeing what we do and the way that we're able to help and the way that we're able to change lives of individuals who join our team or individuals we work with on the client side. It's all about impact, and that largely comes from that attraction factor. So we tend to find, you know, people in the craziest ways, like things like this. People might, you know, be attracted to what we're talking about, or when we're out and about in the community, we find we gravitate towards certain people, and they gravitate toward us and what we do as well. So the things that we really look for, there are some common traits that build a successful financial representative. First one being trustworthiness. You got to be someone who's trustworthy, right? We're dealing with individuals and families and making sure they're getting off on the right foot financially. More importantly than what you know is who you are, right? And if people are able to trust you. So that's the number one thing we look for. And that's why we're largely referral based, because it's all a transfer of trust. So anyone looking for any type of career, I think networking and using, your relationships is so crucial in that, because it's all a transfer of trust. We look for, like Adam had touched on, someone who's just really willing to work and put in that effort. And who's, gritty, that you're going to run into walls, and that's okay. And that's going to happen in any career, especially a career change. There are going to be hard days. Your ability to move forward in positive action is truly what separates those who end up being very successful here and those who might not. So being able to get past those really hard times and stay in a strong space mentally. So to your point, it doesn't matter if you're extroverted or introverted, or you're going to attract the right clients for you based on who you are, as long as you're able to get past the hard days and you're going to work hard and you're going to do right by individuals and people in front of you. So that really is what we look for in when we're attracting new talent to this career.
I love that. So often I work with sales professionals, and I know you guys don't like the word sales, but we're all in the business of sales. I'm a career coach and I'm in a business of sales. I help people sell themselves. And so when people are looking, especially in sales, whether that's retail sales, whether that's, a front office manager for a healthcare provider. We're all in the business of people and providing services to people. And so often that integrity, that trust factor, and that consistency and that mentorship is what's lagging. And so when people are looking to transition into their careers, doing that company research and doing that industry research to what is going to bring me and my family stability, what companies are going to align with my values, and what teams are going to what teams are going to help me thrive. And so when you're speaking to Adam and he says, well, I wasn't really sure what I was looking for. I had so many different conversations. When you're speaking to Todd and he says, this is what I care about. When you speak with Carrie, this is what she's looking for. There's common themes throughout here, and it really is about character. And so who you are as a person, your vibe is going to attract your tribe. You will be able to thrive in whatever comes next for you if you stay true to who you are. And so, and another consistent theme that you've all talked about is putting in the work. There's a lot that goes into being a successful professional, and, hustle culture has kind of been canceled, but I work my ass off as a small-time business owner. I do the best for my team to mentor them and provide continuing education opportunities for them. Before I even had a team, it was even more on my plate. And so I think that certain people are drawn to, work being more than a 9-to-5, it being an opportunity for you to grow professionally within the community, et cetera, because your firm in Chicago, in the greater Chicagoland area, I'm not sure how it is in other places, you're everywhere. I was at a tech speaking event, and somebody from your Milwaukee office was on one of the leadership panels there. When I go to fundraiser events, I was recently at a Cancer Society fundraiser. There was a whole entire crew of you all there. You guys are out in the community, building the community up and taking what you as individuals are passionate about. Like Todd, he's an Evans Scholar. He really enjoys golf. Adam, he's really passionate about individuals with disabilities. You can find both of them at events that are important to them, and it helps them grow professionally and it helps them grow their business. And that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with, that idea of, is when, coming and going and turning it off. So whoever feels comfortable speaking to this, what do you have to say about this industry in terms of the work that it takes for you to successfully grow a healthy business where people look at you as a trusted advisor.
Tegan, I'll jump in on that first part, and I agree. Right, when we think of hustle in the normal, work sense, and I think what's so cool about this is, yes, it does take a lot of work, but it feels a lot different when you're building something for yourself, right? When you're building a team, when you know what you're doing matters, it feels different. Right? No one's telling Adam that he has to work from this time to this time. He chooses to do that because he knows his goals, and he's going to do what aligns with his goals. And he knows he's building it for himself and investing that time into his future. So we also say this is a career where you work really, really hard to eventually work less.
Yep.
So we kind of flip that normal corporate model on its head a little bit. And I think that hustle and that grind and that work, all kind of cliche words at this point. I know that, but I think it feels a little different when you're doing it to build something for yourself and you see the impact of what you're doing at the same time. It's something that you're building for your future that no one can take away from you. You're building that, and you see that and your clients become some of your best friends at some point, right? Like you're going to have client events where people show up and it just feels like a happy hour. It doesn't feel like work, right? So I think there's an important distinction there when you're told you have to do X, Y, and Z versus doing it for yourself and doing what matters.
I think that's an important distinction of what you all do, because your business model is totally different than some other organizations, because at the end of the day, you are your own business owner. You're your own entrepreneur inside a bigger respected bubble. And so someone break that down for people who are watching, because I think most of us are used to the traditional corporate, I am a slave to someone. I have to, I come in for the morning meetings where you get screamed at for not meeting your KPIs. You have these one-on-ones where you just are dogged out for not meeting your numbers or for doing fantastic. And then now they put ridiculous more expectations on it. It's not like that in your industry, well, in your company, because I know across the industry, different companies have different business models, but this is something that's uniquely true for you, which people from the outside looking in would never know unless was speaking with one of you. Todd, you want to kind of explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, there's this misconception that like we work for one company, or that we're basically employees, like, in the corporate America kind of setting. But this really is an opportunity to, start your own business without a lot of money down, except for the, sweat equity and the work that we require to, be successful. So, it's a little untraditional path, but I think for the right person that's willing to take on that risk and is already willing to sink their teeth into the hard work and really wants to enjoy the journey and understands that they're truly starting a business that has enterprise value. I think that's really the value proposition of what we're doing as businesses amongst a bigger whole. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're employees of, just one individual thing. We got an opportunity to start our own business, and all we got to do is work, serve people the right way, have them trust us, and have a lot of fun along the way. So, it's just been an awesome thing for me over the last 10 years.
Okay, so Adam, I'm going to come back to you because Todd's been a lifer at this, where Adam, you kind of, came into it. And so many of the advisors that I meet say, yes, it is hard work, but it is so much fun. And I've grown so much personally throughout this experience of building my own business under the umbrella of such a respected brand. And so if somebody else is thinking, okay, I've been in retail management forever and my commission is capped. I've been a teacher and I want to be able to still serve my community, but I want more autonomy over my time. I want to be able to vacation when I want to vacation. I want to be able to serve my community how I want to serve my community. For someone who, is just year after year experiencing those fourth quarter layoffs despite having, record breaking sales, just because the company is not making good decisions from the top up and they're impacted by it. And they want to have that ownership. What are some of the suggestions that you have from somebody brand new coming into this industry to do that research and really decide for themselves if this is a good opportunity to explore the world of financial services? Because I've met a few financial, and they're like, I was never even involved in math or anything like that, and that can be intimidating. Or how do I build a network when I don't have that network, even though we all actually have one? So what do you have for us, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And so there's a few things that come to mind for me, everybody. So I'll start big picture. And so whether you're looking at this career or just a different career in general, I think something that you should really reflect on is how passionate you are about what you're doing, and how much of yourself, like, do you really feel like you're making the biggest, impact possible? And, that's based on your goals and everything you want to achieve. And, how big do you dream, and, how big do you want to make this thing? Because we only get one shot at this whole life thing, right? So when I think big picture about, people switching careers, I think it's super important that you try to figure out, something that you are excited to do, right? So like Todd and I, a couple of weeks ago on a Friday night, we're working till 8 o'clock. I mean, we walked over to the bar and had a drink, but we're working till 8 o'clock. And I don't mind doing that because and he doesn't either, because we're so excited about this opportunity and the impact and career we're going to build for ourselves, and, all the people that we're going to bring along with us, that, I just think it's super exciting to be in a career where, I'm giving everything I have, and my brand and who I am as a person is super important to me. And a lot of people know that. No one knows me as the finance guy. They've never known me as like this numbers guy or guru. But what they know me as is someone who's probably always going to do the right thing by people, someone that they could trust, like Carrie touched on. Right. And I tell my clients that, like, I'm not the guy that wants to, talk about stocks and day trades all the time. Yeah. Are we going to get into that? Of course. But for me, I'm more focused on building relationships with people and, putting people in a better place than where I found them. I mean, yeah. When I see people's name on my calendar for the next 30 years, I want to be super excited about chatting with that person. So, I often ask people, like, who in your network gives to charities? Who do you know that are just good people that everybody seems to love? And those are the people that I want to get in front of for my own business. So yeah, that's kind of big picture how I think about that. And then, I know I touched on, I didn't have a financial background coming into this at all. Zero. I think, in high school, I made it as far as algebra. I never thought I'd be into this, financial planning space, but I'm so committed to this thing that I'm willing to learn at a very fast pace. And I think, a couple of my superpowers is, one, I'm coachable. I'm always, willing to learn. I'm never going to think I have this thing figured out. And anytime I'm around someone else in the room, I'm trying to figure out what I can learn from that person, especially when they've reached some level of success in this thing. And then, another thing too is I pride myself on being humble. And I think, Tegan, when you asked me, or you brought up the fact that I'm off to the successful start, I still don't feel like that to me. And I'm okay with that, because it makes me more hungry to grow as, a professional in this field. So, yeah, these are the things I think about often. And I think it's what's made me stick around for at least this long. And I know now that I'll be in it for the long haul. So it's super exciting.
I love that, Adam. Okay, so for people who are interested in pivoting careers, one of the most intimidating things after finding that clarity, right? You first have to have a clarity of what you value, what your strengths are, how can you leverage those transferable skills to have your next opportunity. whether that be an industry change or a full-blown career change. And so then once you have that clarity, then it's well, shit, I have to interview. So Carrie, you chat with people all day, every day to figure out if this is going to be a mutual fit. And I respect that so much out of you, that it really is a collaborative process, not an interrogation. And not every HR leader is going to be like that. And so for the people who really do care about relationships, and for the people who really do care about landing at the right company with the right team. So we're not talking about any of like the Debbie Downer companies who are just going to interrogate you, but more of like the style of how you go about it. What would your advice be with going through the interview process of something like this? And how do you recommend people pull out their transferable skills and their strengths to really shine when ultimately they're probably experiencing a lot of insecurity? Because let's face it, change is scary. And so when you're interviewing about such a major change, sometimes it's easy to, how Adam said, he's humble, but sometimes that comes across as not confident. And so I would love to hear your job seeker advice on how to make that come across, how to articulate yourself.
Yeah, such a good question. And I know it's an intimidating space and it can be hard at first. And I know this answer is cliche and I will dive into better advice, I promise, but bringing yourself to the table first and foremost. You don't feel like you need to be a robot answering questions. Be who you are, because we want to see you, especially when you are transferring careers or transferring industries or transferring into something totally new. It is so much less about your resume. Believe it or not, I will scan over a resume. I don't care that much about the resume, to be 100% honest. I care about what you bring to the table and how you show up. I love to hear about things like what you value, what gets you excited. What I often ask the question, like, how would your friends describe you? I can read your resume. Do not feel like you have to read your resume to me. I can read that. I can look at it, and guess what? You're sitting in front of me because we already got through that, right? I don't care if you were, a teacher in retail. I don't care so much about that. Is what made you great at what you did? How did you show up every day? How would people around you describe you? Because we can teach the industry. We can teach those things. We can't teach character. We can't teach who you are. We can't teach values. So at the end of the day, it's so much more about who you are and what you bring to the table versus what job titles you've held previously.
Oh, I love that advice. When I tell people this, Carrie, they look at me like, are you kidding me? Like, no, I've got to be perfect. I need to sound robotic. Like, I need to have all the right answers. But the way you articulate yourself in an interview to really shine is by doing that self-discovery, identifying what your unique value proposition is, and seeing trends throughout your career. So it doesn't matter how you're implementing customer service. It's if you are customer obsessed, if you have that strong sense of pride in your work and have that commitment to community, that's going to come across whether you're returning the cart at the grocery store, or you're a teacher serving your students, or you're a customer service representative, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's going to be consistent. There's going to be themes that come up that you want to make sure that you can talk about, and that it comes across in a sincere way. Because sometimes when preparing for interviewing is a must, but sometimes when we try to identify the right answers for a company, we stray too far away from ourselves, we end up being in a position where it's not the best position for us. And so I'm so glad that that was your answer. And for everybody tuning in, all of this is an organic conversation. This is just the four of us getting together on the topic of, hey, I've got goals and dreams bigger than my current opportunity. How do I get there? And seeing the full 360 perspective from people in the same industry who have gone through different phases throughout their career to give advice to all of you tuning in on how to make this happen for you. So Todd, now I want to come to you, because Now we've got career clarity. Now we've got how do we, nail the interview to get the job. But then once we're in a new job, when we're transitioning careers, it's so important to have quality mentorship. And sometimes it can be really difficult for people to get vulnerable and find quality mentorship and to not feel like a burden on leaders and mentors, and to really absorb all of the things that you can get as someone new to the industry. So from a leadership perspective, how do you encourage new team members to come to you and get time on your very busy calendar to learn and grow from you, or to find other educational opportunities so they can learn some of this stuff on their own?
Right. It's a great question. One thing that we do really well is we really care a lot about the individual outside of just, the sales role or the work that they're doing, from 8 to 5. We changed the name a long time ago on our Monday morning meeting from sales builder to life builder. And what we're trying to really do is build people's lives. We're trying to help people become better people. I'm a lot better husband today than I would have ever been because of this business. I'm a lot better, person because of some of the adversity I've faced in this business. So I think we really develop relationships and make sure that the people that we bring on know that we really are going to give you an overwhelming amount of support, but we also really care to see you get to the finish line. If people know that you care about them and you have a really good relationship, then you can challenge people professionally, and it's out of a very, very good place. If I don't have that relationship, then it seems like I'm just wanting people to do it for my own benefit, or I'm like, harassing them or something like that. When, if I don't have the relationship, that's kind of what it is. It's like, we want to make sure we really understand, who we're in front of. We build a really, really, really foundational relationship based on trust. And then from there, I feel like I can challenge people in all aspects of their life, not just professionally, because we believe that if you're not winning in all aspects of your life, or at least at home, then you can't really win at work. And they kind of have to be things that are coinciding together. So, I love the name Life Builder. We're really trying to focus on people's lives and their vision and what they really want to accomplish. And that all stems from having a really good relationship and understanding what people really want versus just treating people like another job or another number or whatever it might be.
I think these concepts are going to be so mind-blowing to so many people who RSVP to this event, or are going to watch it on replay, because when do you ever hear a company say, we care about you as a holistic person? If you're not thriving at home, you can't possibly thrive at work. That speaks to the culture of your organization. And that goes back to Adam's initial point of doing that research. To successfully pivot in your career, you have to really figure out, is this a good company for me to take this stepping stone at? Are these leaders going to have my back? Do they walk the talk? Because so often it's really easy. I mean, look at me, I'm a resume writer, right? Carrie says resumes don't even matter, and really they don't. And so what matters is how you show up and who you are as a person, and being able to articulate that story and then do the necessary steps that you need to take to accomplish your professional goals. But when you're doing that initial research, how do you separate marketing, which is just great storytelling on the company's part, and actually finding out if these leaders are going to be supportive of you? And that takes so much extra effort, which is literally asking someone for a referral, like, hey, do you know anybody at this company that, I could chat with a little bit about the culture? I've done the research online, saw a couple conflicting reviews, or saw all great reviews, whatever, just, want to get the inside scoop. And to talk to people who left, hey, why wasn't this a good fit for you? What happened here? And maybe it was just, yep, this didn't align here. And that may not be the issue for you. For those of you who know me, I was a recruiter for all of 6 months, right? I had partnered with this firm while I worked for the Department of Labor. I was a top performer out of my class of like 25 new recruits, or, all of that. And it just wasn't for me. And it came down to culture. And so you really have to align yourself. And yes, we want a diversity of thought. We want a diversity of everything. But when it comes to what you value and the culture you want to surround yourself with, good people know good people. And you want to be around those people who genuinely care about you. So you really need to talk to people for the good, bad, ugly, and in between to make sure that, you know, Todd's testimonial right there, they could plaster that on their website. But then what if it was just, you know, all talk? Well, here's Adam, an employee, saying, no, it's not all talk. He's helped mentor me to become a top performer, a top new associate in this firm. And then you talk to somebody else who maybe didn't make it and they say, oh, yeah, Todd was a great mentor, absolutely loved working for him. It's just this was better for whatever reason. Maybe I had to move or whatever, you know, and then you're like, okay, not only do I want to work for the company, I also want to work for this leader. And so these are some of those pieces that need to come together as a transitioner to really be thoughtful about it. And so I know we're getting close to time. So I just want to go full circle again, and for everybody to give your best piece of advice for someone who wants to start their own business or to transition careers and who are thinking after hearing you guys speak, hey, maybe I could be a financial advisor. Maybe I could, you know, go into this industry, or maybe it's not on the advisement side. Maybe it's an analyst, maybe it's an admin, maybe it's in recruitment or office or whatever. What would be your best advice for someone who's thinking about transitioning right now, and what actionable steps that they can take to reach their goal? So Adam, I'm going to pick on you first.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, I would say that, you know, if you're thinking about any kind of career change, my biggest piece of advice would be to explore it and, you know, give it a chance, give it a shot. I think people are so nervous or fearful because they get so comfortable in the role that they are in, and they're seeing the paycheck come through every couple of weeks, depending on the role, not our role. But they just get comfortable in what they're doing. And, you know, I think if you have any, you know, anything in the back of your mind that's saying, I think there might be a little bit more out there for you than what you're currently doing, then what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You know, have the conversations, keep doing your research, and, you know, take the jump. You know, I don't think anything bad can happen if you try a new career or try a new job. If you're a talented person and you work hard, you're going to end up finding something regardless. It's just about finding what you're passionate doing, I think, is the most important thing. Keep turning over those stones until you find that.
I like that, Adam. So for anybody who's letting fear rule you right now, take a deep breath and just remember, what's the worst thing that can happen? You just get a different job. It's okay. Think about it. You know, for anybody who's thinking, oh, I don't want to look like a job hopper, yada, yada, yada. It's okay to spend some time exploring what's right for you. And at the end of the day, there's plenty of companies out there who will recognize and appreciate the work that you did put into yourself, because you're obviously coachable. You're obviously driven. And so with that, Todd, you are up next, my friend.
Yeah, a couple things come to mind for me outside what Adam said. I'm being honest when I say this. This is not like a promotion for our organization. I just don't know where else you can really start a business, like a true business where you own the business and you become the CEO and founder of your own business, where you can have this much impact and this much lucrative opportunity for your family, but you don't have to put any money in initially. I mean, basically every business on the planet, if you want to start it, you have to put down $200,000 to start a Jimmy John's, or to buy the brick and mortar, to hire the employees, or whatever it is. This is a business that has multi-million-dollar opportunity down the road, and all you have to do is come in and prove with sweat equity that you belong at the table. And I don't think that that's that tall of an order if you're talking to the right person. So really betting on yourself, as Adam mentioned, But I just think it's such a unique opportunity where you can come in and start your business and get your foot in the door. You don't have to put down this huge amount of capital to be able to do that. And the worst case scenario, your skill set is going to improve tremendously. It's possible that you could find your next job through the big network that we already have here if it didn't work out for you. But the best thing that could happen is you find the career for the rest of your life, and you're able to live a lifestyle that you really never anticipated doing previously, or maybe that your previous position was not going to give you. So this is just that launching pad for the right person to be able to step in and say, this is exactly what I want. I just didn't know this opportunity was available to me. And now I see that it is. So that's what I would say.
I think the irony here, because you guys are, in the financial industry, is so many people says, oh, I wish I would have started saving sooner. But so many advisors say, I wish I would have taken this step sooner. Because when you are in a sales focused type of role, in a customer experience type of role, the sooner you start building relationships, the sooner you start honing your craft, getting the mentorship on the advice, continuing to grow the areas that you can serve people, the better, right? Because it's compounding. And I have had the honor of being able to collaborate with so many different advisors, from like a professional branding strategy on LinkedIn, that it's so interesting to see when new people come into the industry, when they say, hey, these are the things that I care about the most, and they go out there and focus on those areas, those types of people. Not only do you get to build your business with your target client, right? Like the people that you enjoy working with, to Adam's point, for the next 30 years, you get excited to talk to them. You get to be that much more adjacent to the things that you care most about. And so oftentimes as a career coach, I'll say, you can have a hobby outside of work. You don't necessarily have to do your hobby for work. Not everybody can be that professional golf player, but you can go and play golf and, outside of work and have fun with it, or even find a job where people like to go have meetings on the golf course and have that be that much closer to it. When you can align your business around the things and the people that you enjoy, it's that much more special. And so the work that goes into it, it doesn't necessarily always feel like work. It more so, it feels invigorating. So Carrie, I want you to close us out with what your advice for career transitioners would be.
Yeah, I love this question. So what I would advise is look at the individuals in your life and look at their lives, and whose life do you aspire to have? Not career title, not how they get started, not any of that, but who do you really admire and how they show up in their life, and what they get to prioritize in their life and how they live on a day-to-day basis. Start there and just ask for conversations, right? Ask to grab coffee, talk to these people, start networking, because that's really where it's at. That's really where you're going to find what's exciting to you and what doors could open from there. Stay open and don't be afraid to ask for help. People want to help people, but sometimes it can be hard and we can get in our own ways and not want to ask for help or not seek advice or not voice that we're looking for a new opportunity. Put it out there. That's the only way people can help you, and people want to help. So that would be my advice. Put it out there that you're looking for something new. Ask for help and look for people whose lives you admire and just ask to pick their brain. It's that simple. You don't know what doors that could open.
Okay, so before I let you go, Carrie, when someone is picking someone's brains, what types of questions do you think that they should ask to get a more broad conversation started? Because sometimes the quality of question you ask can lead to the quality of conversation you have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would ask how they got started in that career. What excites them about that career now, assuming they're already successful, what keeps them driven, what keeps them going, what keeps them wanting more, and what their advice would be for someone in their situation. Maybe it's someone else that they could connect them to. Maybe that isn't the right career for them, but they know so-and-so who could connect them. I think just being genuinely curious about how they got started and what matters to them and what they actually enjoy about their career or their life or whatever it is. But you're right, coming prepared with those questions and making sure that time is used intentionally, because that is the last thing you want to do too, is ask for that time and then not come and get what you need out of it and they want to feel like they made a difference in that time as well. So you need to give them that opportunity by coming prepared.
Yes, I think the whole entire concept of being vulnerable, allowing people to help you through those conversations and coming up and being curious and just diving deeper past those surface level conversations to make sure it's a good fit is fantastic advice. So Todd, Adam, Carrie, thank you so much for joining me today. Does anybody want to share anything else?
Yeah, I got one more thing to say.
Let's do it.
Coming into this career, I had a lot of people tell me that they didn't think it was a good idea. So there was a lot of naysayers too along the way. As many as people as I had in my life that were supportive, there was just as many people saying, yeah, I don't know if that's the best fit. I don't know if that's a good idea. And, that usually means that you're doing the right thing. So I have all those comments in my phone and I have a list of names. And when I'm at the top, I probably won't do it then, but there's some people that I'll circle back with that, told me this was a bad idea. And
proved you wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That's my last thought.
I'm the same way, Adam. When I left a very well-paying, uncapped commission recruitment job, people were like, you're nuts. You're starting your own business? Like, what does that even look like? Tegan, you cannot do this. You've been self-sufficient since you were so young, just always out there finding ways to take care of yourself. This is a lot of risk. And now 6 years into it, they're like, oh, I see what you're doing. And every single day, like, what does your mommy do? My son's 4. What does your mommy do? She makes the world a better place. And that's powerful. That's so powerful to say, to know that he understands I help people have better lives. And that's the same thing that all of you get to do. And when you can have that different level of pride, there's going to be risk in anything we do. But if that risk aligns with a better future for you independently, but for your greater moral compass, there's so much power in that. And so for anybody who has a high level of integrity, who feels like they're great at building relationships, whether you're an introvert or extrovert, there's just a way that you can make people feel comfortable and you genuinely want the best for these people. And you're thinking of a career change, connect with each of these 3 people, ask for time to chat with them about what an opportunity for you might look like. And hey, if this isn't the right opportunity for you, you're going to get that much more clarity as to why and what else might be. And each of these 3 people have massive networks and they are true connectors. I feel like every single time me and Todd connect, oh, let me introduce you to so-and-so. And so they may know someone who may be a better fit to chat with you. And that's okay, because then you're getting closer to that next step for you. And so regardless, it's going to be a win-win conversation, because I can guarantee you at the end of the conversation that they have with you, they're going to say, hey, is there anybody in your network that I think I should be talking to, right? I think it was Adam who said, hey, who do you know who cares about philanthropic endeavors? Who puts their money where their mouth is at? And so it's just a chain reaction of good people know good people want to help. You just have to be clear as to what your intentions are, even if they're broad, and say, hey, I just want to explore if this might be a good fit for me or what that might look like further. So with that, I want to wish everyone who is on your job search right now peace in knowing that there are incredible human beings around the globe that want to have your back. They're just one connection, one message away from them being able to help serve you. So Carrie, Adam, Todd, thank you so much for joining me today. I know it is so helpful to have that 360 perspective. And for everybody tuning in, make sure you connect with them. They are fantastic human beings.
Yep. Cool.
Thank you so much, Tegan.
Thanks, Tegan.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.